Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. In this practice, we're going to be moving through some hip openers, in particular, Pigeon Pose, and several variations of Pigeon Pose. Let's begin our practice in seated. Go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Maybe you want to sit on something soft, like a blanket or a pillow. Just be sure you have a nice lengthened spine, sitting up tall. And feel free to close your eyes for this part of the practice, or just keep your eyes opened. And if they are open, just take an easy gaze downward. Start with a full breath in, filling up your lungs and heart space. Exhale. Just let it go with a nice sigh through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Very nice. And just settle into some slow, steady breaths. Breathing in a way where you can feel your breath and perhaps hear the sound of your breath. Just very simple ways to help you tune in to what's going on inside of you. And with this focus and concentration, this allows you to let go of the things that are going on outside of you. Taking the time for you. This is your moment. A moment of stillness, a moment of silence. Good, just take 3 more breaths here. Let's do our first practice in seated. If your legs are crossed, go ahead and uncross the legs and just bring the soles of your feet together. You can still remain seated on a blanket or even a block or pillow for this. Just bring the soles of the feet together. You can draw the heels in close to your body, but do be mindful of how this feels on your knees. If that feels binding on your knees, then you may just slide the feet forward. So your legs here form more of a right angle, so there's less of a bind in the knees. And if your feet are farther forward, that just means you'll be holding on to your shins rather than maybe your ankles, feet, or toes. So go ahead and hold on here for our bound angle position, or cobbler's pose. Again, sitting up nice and tall. We're inhaling, feeling as if we're moving upward. Imagine there's a string attached to the crown of your head, drawing you towards the sky. Exhale, let's draw a belly button in. Stay right there. And let's create a hinge forward with the upper body, creating more sensation in the inner legs. So another in breath, feeling tall. Exhale, draw belly button in, and then start to hinge forward from the hips, leading with your heart and chin, just moving forward just a little bit. So let your spine remain straight. And maybe you can even reach your feet here, or maybe even your toes, but just hold for a moment. And maybe you're starting to feel something in the inner legs, just a gentle release here. Let's go a little further. Inhale, long spine, feel tall. Exhale, perhaps hinge forward a tiny bit more. And just notice if there's more sensation arising in the inner legs. Feel free to even lower the chin, even around your back, which might provide a little bit more space for you to gently and slowly fold a little bit deeper. Not that you have to, but just to a place where you feel a comfortable stretch and release in our first hip opener here, cobbler's pose, or more formally bound angle pose. We'll take a few more breaths. Imagine that you are actually sending your breath down to these places where you have the most sensation. I say imagine because I don't know if you can really experience the breath flow into certain areas of the body, but just imagine it or intend it. So as I inhale, I just fill myself up. Exhale, imagining I'm sending that exhaled breath down into the areas that will enjoy a nice stretch. Let's take 2 more breaths here. If your chin is lowered and your back is rounded, just notice. And we'll take our time to rise back up. Start by lifting the chin so you start that re-extension of your spine. And then you can hinge your way back up. Even use your hands on the mat to help assist your own body. Sitting up tall for a moment. Let's stay in this position. We just did a forward fold. Let's do somewhat of a back bend. And you can bring the hands behind us here. You might even spin the fingers back. And roll the shoulders back, tip the chin up. So we create this back bend effect in the body. Now here, this might be enough of a sensation to open up the hips. Just a different feeling from being in a forward fold. But if you want to add a little bit more energy and excitement to this pose, what you could do is, with shoulders rolled back, heart lifting, chin lifted, inhale, fill up the lungs. Exhale, press hands into the floor and lift the hips up off the ground. Even send the pelvis down towards the heels. We won't stay here too long. Maybe just 3, 2, 1, and back down. Just to open up a little bit more. Let's stay in the seated posture. Let's take the feet out in front of us here, maybe just to the edges of the mat. And you might need to take this wider, just depending on how you want to make this feel. You can keep the hands behind you. We're just going to gently take the knees over to the right side, just letting them drop. And just let them land where they land. They don't have to touch the ground necessarily. And again, be mindful of the knee here. If it feels torqued a little bit on the inner knee, since this is an inner rotation for the left leg, just notice how that feels, which you could do if you happen to have a prop nearby. You can have something like that, like a block for that leg to rest on, since our focus really is on the hips. Just opening up, and I'm maintaining a tall torso. Really, I'm trying to keep the torso long rather than feeling too bunched up. And even a slight rotation of the upper body away from the knees. Because of the inner rotation of this left leg, you might feel a little bit more on this left side. Let's take 2 more breaths. And we'll come back up to center. Just pause in this neutral placement. We'll just do this on the other side. Feel free to use your props as you'd like. So I'm going to take my knees now down to the left side, which will probably affect more of that right knee and leg and hip. Yes, I can certainly feel that. And just maintaining a good propped up upper body. And rather than just kind of turning in the same direction as the knee, which you could do, maybe just a little bit more of a sensation in the hips and low back, I'm turning torso away. Now I really feel that. I am going to bring in this block just for a little bit more support for this knee so it doesn't feel like it's just hanging there. Just a nice gentle hip release. And we'll take 3 more breaths. And coming back up to center. Move our props. And just holding here for a moment so that the spine and the hips can come back to neutral. And then take your time and let's come to hands and knees, and feel free to use your blanket if you'd like for a little extra padding. For hands and knees, we're not going to be here too long, but just to get some mobility through the spine as well as the hips. So cow pose as you inhale, that's our back bend. Nice arching of the back. Exhale, round it all out. Chin to chest, belly button pulls up towards spine. That feels so good. Inhale, tip pelvis back, let the belly drop. Chin lifts, arched back. Exhale, tuck pelvis under. Rounded spine. And maybe just 2 more. Just return to a neutral tabletop posture for a moment. We'll move into a downward facing dog. So I'm going to move my blanket off to the side. Return to the mat here. And just to set up the body in a good way, I'm going to step my hands forward slightly, getting the wrists out from underneath the shoulders. Spread out your fingers so you can stretch the hands, stretch your fingers, and then press the flat palms into the mat. Strong, straight arms. Tuck your toes. Inhale, cow pose. That feels good on the toes back there too. Exhale, round it out into cat pose. Hold cat. While in that position, lift your knees off the floor and just feel how your hips just float into the air. Keep knees bent so the hips continue rising. Meanwhile, your head and chest just sink right between the arms here. Just holding for a moment. I'm stepping my left foot to center for a little bit of balance as I inhale and pick up right foot and extend the right leg back. Reach as the hands press firmly into the floor. I'm going to bend this right knee, lifting this knee slightly, a little twist, a little turn of the lower half of the body towards the right side of the room in this down dog, but also a hip opener. And I'm going to draw a circle in the air with my knee. It can be a big circle, it could be a small circle. Make sure you go one direction and then the other direction, adding more mobility in the hip. Finish at the top with an inhale, opening up. Exhale, let's step through to a warrior one setup so we can get off the hands. Foot can land behind the right hand. We'll turn that back leg to get the whole left foot onto the floor. So be sure your heel's on the floor. Rise up slightly, but shift the weight back into that foot so you have more weight in that foot. Rise to fingertips to extend spine slightly here. Climb up the leg. You might bring hands to thigh, continuing to extend spine. Just want to move safely and soundly. And then free the arms, reaching out and up with an inhale. Exhale, just settle into the lunge. Just hold here for a moment. Let's actually relax the arms as we pay attention to basically the left leg that's extended back behind us because it is turned out, an outer rotation slightly. And you might get a nice stretch here in the hip flexor, just below the belt line. Let's inhale again, reaching both arms up. Exhale, open. Warrior two. Maybe a slight adjustments with the feet. I like to take mine slightly wider, and this back leg actually turns out a little bit so I have more space and release in the left hip. And then a side angle, which I'm going to modify. So I'm just reaching forward to angle the upper half of the body and just bringing this right hand right down to the thigh. It could even be your forearm, while left hand reaches into the air, but also overhead, just to get a little bit more length and space down through the left side of the body. One more breath here. Nice stretch and lengthening. I'm going to rise up just a little bit to have some space to come out of the pose so I can easily turn, free the hands out in front, fold, bring hands to the floor, rise up onto tiptoes behind. I'm in this runner's lunge, pushing into the ground so I can slide this right foot back into plank pose. I'm going to bring knees to the floor here and actually slide over to the left edge of my mat and then sit back into hero pose. I'm going to add another posture here. I'm going to sit off to the right side, but I'm going to use a blanket here. So if you can actually just go ahead and sit off right onto the ground, that's fine. But I like to have a little bit of a lift and support. So I bring in a blanket. That should be just enough. So I can just sit off to the right, just like this, and just keep the hands over here on the right side. But use your hands or fingers to push into the ground to stay lifted. You might feel this in the hips and low back. Now, this left arm might be braced a bit on this right thigh, which is perfect. Use this right hand as just some stability, maintaining a lengthened spine, getting very tall at first, and with an exhale, a gentle rotation away from the legs, just until you find the sensation you would like in kind of this hip area. Since we're sitting off to the side, kind of this mermaid style pose, you're somewhat displaced, but it does add a different hip sensation. Just a couple more breaths here. And to come out of this pose, what I like to do, since I'm already kind of facing over here to the right, is just kind of walk my hands out this way. That just releases that twisting sensation. And then lift and crawl back up to the top of the mat here to hands and knees. And while we're here, let's just return to cat-cow. Let's do that whole sequence on the other side. So 2 or 3 breaths here, flowing through cat-cow. Again, some good mobility in the hips. We'll step the hands forward, tuck toes. Let's do one more cat-cow. Hold cat. Tuck toes, lift knees, send hips into the air. Remember to keep the knees bent as hips continue to rise. And your head dips between the arms. Hold for a moment. I step the right foot to center on the mat just for some balance as I inhale and extend left leg now into the air. Bend and twist open. Here's our hip opener. And then some circles. Small circles, big circles, whatever your hip allows. 2 or 3 times in one direction, and make sure you circle in the other direction. Try to keep your hands nice and strong, pressing into the earth to maintain the lift and support of the upper body. Let's inhale at the top, exhale, unwind, step left foot to the top of the mat, landing here. Right heel turns to the floor, shifting the weight back into that foot. Rise to fingertips to start the extension of spine. And again, we'll climb the leg. Hands to thigh, extending more. Then an inhale, reaching out and up for our warrior one. Exhale to settle into the pose. And we'll just bring the arms down for just a moment so you can just check in with that right leg. Hip flexor stretch feels quite nice. Then we'll inhale, re-extend the arms. Exhale, opening up to your right for your warrior two. Make any adjustments that you need to for your feet and legs, mainly so you have a nice, strong foundation. Then our side angle. Let's shift forward. Rotate here, bringing left hand to thigh or forearm, reaching straight up initially with the right hand, and then overhead if you'd like. This arm just comes down closer towards the ear until you feel that side stretch. We'll take several breaths. We'll take a breath in, exhale. We'll turn, free the hands, fold, bring hands down to the mat, rise up onto tiptoes back here. Push firmly into the floor with the hands. Good support of the upper body so you can slide the left foot back. You'll be in plank pose. We'll bring the knees down to the earth. Maybe scoot over towards the right edge of your mat and then sit back. So we're just making some space on this left side so we can get into that mermaid type position. I'm gonna use my blanket again for a little extra support as I just kind of shift and sit. It could be on the ground or something higher like a block if you'd like. Hands just supporting yourself here on the floor. This hand and arm might even brace against the thigh. And just push down in order to lift up. Inhale. And exhale, a gentle rotation kind of in the torso area, even your head a bit, towards this left side until you create the sensation you would like. It is a twist, but just notice where you have this sensation because it might initiate in the hip area. And 2 more breaths. We'll soften just by walking away from the body, just like that, and then crawl right back up to the top of the mat, 2 hands and knees. And cat-cow, just for that fluidity of the body. Now we're to do an interesting version of pigeon. Some of my colleagues call this box pigeon. So what we'll do is I'm going to send my right knee forward up towards the right wrist. So I'm going to tuck my toes, my left set of toes, so I can lift this knee out of the way and just swing this right foot around. This will be a typical pigeon pose like this, but what I'm going to do actually is, because my leg here, my shin is at an angle, I'm actually going to bring this shin up so that it's parallel to the front edge of the mat. And this left leg, I'm just going to bring it alongside the edge of the mat so the shin there is also aligned. And then you just kind of sit. Okay, so you might be sitting off to the side a bit. So shin, right knee, parallel to the front edge. Left leg, for the most part, parallel to the side edge. Some different variations. I'm just going to push into the floor, just lifting. Now, the more that I twist to the left, more sensation. But what you can also do, I'm going to bring in a bolster here, is actually come down. There we go. So you don't have to go all the way down towards the floor or to the floor, but maybe just bring in something you can prop yourself onto. We call it box pigeon because we're kind of forming these slight right angles in the legs here. If you want to go a little deeper, I'm going to do a couple things. One, I'm going to keep turning towards this right foot. I'm just going to hold on to the foot, bringing the elbow towards the floor, and just kind of rotate in this direction. We're also going to take it in the opposite direction in a moment, just to get different feelings in the hips, just mainly because of the hip placement where the legs are. 2 more breaths on this first side. Easing out of this. And then rotating to the other side. Now the hands can just stay on the floor here. And just feel like you're twisting away. It might have a similar effect as our mermaid pose. You can even bring this downward. I have this blanket here, so I'll just take advantage of having the blanket here. Yes. If that's too low, you can always stay up higher or use the pillow or even a block. And again, just notice how this affects the hips, but also because there's these slight twists, we're getting certainly into the torso. So I'm going to stay leaning to this side so I can just kind of relax this left leg and just bring it around to the front and just take a regular seat. It was nice having that pillow, so I'm going to have that handy. I'm going to even bring my blanket over to the other side. So from our seated posture, I'm just going to swing them back behind, come back to hands and knees. And from here, I'm just going to slide the left knee forward. Right set of toes tucked so I can lift that knee out of the way and swing this left foot over to the right edge of the mat. And this would be that classic pigeon pose, but I'm going to actually sit off to the side so I can bring this left shin so it's more parallel to the front edge of the mat. I'm just checking in with this back leg, same thing, shin kind of parallel to the side there. And there's our box pigeon, just holding, just getting a sense of this new sensation. It's another kind of displacement of the hips. And if you're able, you can fold forward or just stay up tall, but take your time because these are new movements, new placements for the hips, but can help with some nice release. I'm also feeling this a little bit in the IT band of the left leg into the glutes, and those are certainly areas that can get a little bound up, especially through the connective tissue there. Let's add those different sensations by turning a bit towards the foot over here. As if you were turning away, you can even kind of create this kind of positioning where this right hand reaches up and away, or even bring it down behind you. I'm just holding on to this left foot with my left hand. A couple more breaths. Unwinding to take it to the other side. Rising up so I have that good mobility through the spine. Move slowly through these transitions. So now turning away. Just like this. And you can even bring this down to a fold if that works for you. Let's see if my body can come down here gently and easily. And 3 more breaths. I'm going to rise a little bit here so I can start to feel the body soften out of the posture. Still staying leaning to this left side, I can actually release this right leg and bring it around. And then cross the legs if you'd like here, coming back to just a simple seated posture. That comes to the close of our practice together. So I'm just going to take a seat on my blanket, sit up nice and tall. I can really feel the opening in the hips after all of that. All right, one last movement together. We'll inhale, extend arms all the way up, big stretch. Exhale, bring palms together and down to your heart. Take a couple more breaths right here, settling in, stillness and silence. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.